Welcome to Shabit Uganda Learning. My name is Nelson, and in today's lesson we are going to be looking at a continuation of finding out square roots of numbers, that is using different methods, as they always set it as a trick for solving these numbers. So we are going to get started exactly from where we stopped. Alright. Okay. Yes, this is where we exactly stopped, and we had looked at how do we find these so-called square root numbers, and we gave a review of these square root numbers, as you can see here. So in these numbers we had our 1 up to 100, and we were able to explain how do we come up with these square root numbers. Please, that is in our recent lesson that we were able to handle. So in this lesson we shall directly go to our question of today. We promise that we shall have a variety of examples such that we can get used with the solving these numbers. So we have our example here. Which is going to be our example 2. It is going to be our example number 2. We're also going to see if you are to solve these equations, how do we also solve these equations using different methods. We looked at one method, which is a ladder method, and the ladder method is the one which is in the factorization. It's one of the method in factorization, and also a factor tree method. All of them we can use them and find out the square root of numbers. Okay, so let's get started and we see how we can solve out these numbers. As you can see how these numbers is arranged, they're able to use this method, where this method is just a ladder method, and in this ladder method we shall be looking at the number which is given, which is 144. So in this 144 we have to solve it. So we said when we use a ladder method, we just come out and arrange our value. We arrange our value as you can see here. So in this value that is given, we said we just arrange our value as we just write our value here. So after writing our value, then we come and present our value, which is 144. Then in this value which is given, you look out for which lowest factor can you really apply to this number, and it gives out a no remainder. So we always applied our lowest factor for us to derive out to the correct answer. So we are going to use our 2. So when you get your lowest factor that can be applied on 144, then you just divide all of them. So when we divide 142, what do we get? So here we get our what? Our 72. Then we still now have our 72. We also still look out for the lowest factor that we can use on our 72. We can still use our 2. So when we get our 72 divided by 2, we shall be able to get our 36. Then our 36, we still use our lowest factor, which is a 2. We still divide. When we divide our 36 by 2, here we shall be able to get our 18. Okay, we shall be able to get our what? Our 18. We still divide our 18 by 2. So we shall be able to get our answers what? Our answers 9. Then Remember, we have to solve this number up to what? Up to a 0 until we get that number that can divide it, and we get a what? We get a 1. As you can see, so we have our 9 here. So we should also be able to look out for the number that can divide 9 and we get no remainder. We can use our 3. So when you divide 9 by 3, we shall get what? 9 by 3, we get 3. So we now having our 3, we still also divide it by 3, we get 1. So now this simply means that for us to be able to use this, we have got our 2 in a set notation. We said you can use a set notation, which is when you use our set notation, let me write it here. Now we can be able to present our number as our 2 appearing for the first time, okay, which is this one. It appears here first time, second time, third time, fourth time. Then our 3 is appearing for the first time and the second time. So in using our set notation, then we can be able to write our 2 2. We write our 3, our 2 3. Then we write our 2 4. Okay, these are all separated by commas. Then we are having our 3 1, comma, our 3 2, comma. Then after I have written it like this, this is now our form what? Our set notation. Then when you also write it in our multiplication form, okay, let me write it here. This is going to be what? Multiplication form. Our multiplication form. Our multiplication form is going to be 2 times 2, then times 2, times 2. How many times? There are 4 times. Then times what? Times 3. Then times 3. So now when you look at this form of ours, the multiplication form, it is giving us we can form some more sub 2 sets. Okay, these are the sub 2 sets we are forming. Alright, so in these 2 subsets that we have formed, you can realize that how many subsets have we got? We have 1, 2, then 3. Okay, so now for us to be able to derive to the square root of this number, now using this method, we shall pick out. Okay, we are saying we are going to pick out a number in each of these subsets. We shall pick out a number of each on these subsets. Okay, I was trying to identify this. We are going to pick out what? A number on each of these subsets. For example, if we pick a 2 here, and we also pick a 2 here, then we also pick our 3 here. So this simplifies that when we have picked our 2, we shall now be able to multiply these numbers we have picked. These are going to be our 2, then times 2, okay, this one, then times what? Times our 3. So when we multiply these numbers, it is going to be 4 times what? Times 3. So our answer that we are going to get here is going to be 12. So this simply means that our answer that we have been able to get is going to be the what? It's going to be the square. We are saying our answer, okay, let me write it here. We are saying the answer got is going to be the square. Is going to be the square root. Okay, so our square root now is going to be what? Is going to be 12. our square root is going to be what? It's going to be 12. So you can see that we have been able to get I've been able to use this ladder method for us to derive to our square root, which is given. Okay, for us also to be able to use another method, we said we can also look at our number which is given. Our number which is given, that is the 144. You look out for the number. You look out for the number which has been multiplied by itself to get 144. So this simply means if we can be able to get our 12 times 12, when we multiply this number, should we be able to give us 144. So we can be now able to use all these methods for us to derive to our square root. So in the next example, we shall be able to use a factor tree method, such that we can also do what? We can also find out our square root using different methods, as we promised in our recent lesson, that we shall be using various methods for us to derive to the correct answer. So it will be out of your understanding which one works better for you, which one is simpler for you to be able to get the right answer. So for this, I think I should be able now to make a recap of this. We are saying for us to be able to get our square root here, we can use various methods, which is the ladder method, and we can also use a factor tree method, the one we are going to be using in our next example. Alright, so for this, let me stop here and say thank you very much for being part of this lesson. We shall be looking at some more examples in the next lesson that we are going to handle soon. Please be able to check out some of the recent lessons if you are not on the same page with us, because we are using this lesson building on the first lesson that we had already started. Alright, so this is my telephone number and this is our email, that is elearning@shareability.net. Stay blessed, have a nice moment, see you in the next lesson.